Hello everyone, this is Enea here, and in today's tutorial I'll teach you how to draw the Dara Knot in Affinity Designer. The Dara Knot is an ancient Celtic symbol representing inner strength, resilience, and the interconnectedness of life. It comes in different variations, but in today's tutorial we are going to draw it in this version with two rounded rectangles and a division in the middle. Alright, so to get started we go to File New and we create a new composition. We give it 2000 by 2000 pixels in dimensions. And we click on Create. And then make sure that Snapping, Snap to Spread, Snap to Object Bounding Boxes, and Include Bounding Box Midpoints are enabled. And then we're going to start drawing the figure. So in order to create the figure, we're going to take the Rounded Rectangle tool. We set the fill to None, the stroke to black, and we set the stroke width to 25 points. So in order to draw the figure, we're going to need rounded rectangles of ratio 1 to 1.85. So in order to do that, we go ahead and we draw a rounded rectangle, and we set its width to 100 pixels, and its height to 185. And then, with the Move tool, we go ahead and we center it in the middle of the composition. And then we expand it while holding Ctrl and Shift to expand from the center and preserve the proportion. Until it has a height of about 1300 pixels. And here we are going to adjust the roundedness of the corners, so we need it a bit more rounded. So we set the roundedness to 45%. And then we're going to use this rounded rectangle to create the other rounded rectangle. So we go here to enable Transform Origin. We press on Ctrl J to duplicate it. And then we rotate the duplicated rectangle by 90 degrees. So now we have the two rounded rectangles that we need for the figure. So the next step is going to be to create a thin division here in the middle. And we're going to do it with the regular rectangle tool. So we take the regular rectangle tool. We'll leave the fill and stroke as they are. And then, starting from the middle of the composition, and expanding while holding Ctrl, we go ahead and we create a thin rectangle like this. And it must be like this, that the white area in the middle must be as wide as the stroke. And here it must expand further than the rounded rectangle at the top and at the bottom. So it must look like this. And then we're going to need another thin rectangle like this. So we press on Ctrl J to duplicate it. And then we also rotate it by 90 degrees. So now we have all the elements that we need to complete the figure. So we press on Ctrl A to select all the elements in the composition. And we go to Layer, Expand Stroke. So what this does is that it converts the stroke object into fill objects. So now the objects are fill only. We need to do this before we start connecting the parts with the Shape Builder tool. And also before we start connecting with the Shape Builder tool, we go here to the Color panel, we set the stroke to None, and the fill to black. We also need to do that, otherwise the program is going to add a stroke when we connect the objects together with the Shape Builder tool. And then we press Ctrl A to select all the elements in the figure. And we take the Shape Builder tool. And first we're going to set the action to minus. And then we remove the parts here of the thin rectangles that come out of the rounded rectangles. And then we remove the part here, the part of the rounded rectangle that lies between the thin rectangles on all four sides of the figure. And then we remove the part here in the middle, the intersection of the two thin rectangles. Alright, so now we have removed all the parts that we need to remove. And we can change the action to plus. And then we're going to connect these three elements here, these three elements here, these three elements here, and these three elements here. And then we connect these elements here up to here, and then these elements here up to here. And then these elements here, up to here. And then these elements here. And then these elements here. And then these elements here, all the way to here. And then all these elements here. And finally, these elements here. So now we have connected all the elements that we need connected together. The next step is going to be to create the gaps between the elements. And we are going to do so with the contour tool. So we take the contour tool. We'll leave the contour type to round. And we need to diminish the radius. So we set it to around -7 pixels. And as you can see, this creates the gaps between the elements. And lastly, we can adjust the color. So I'll set the color to a dark green. And also I will add a bit of noise to the figure. So I think it looks good that way. Alright, so that was it for this tutorial. You learned how to create the Dara Knot in Affinity Designer. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and learned something from it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Affinity Designer tutorials in the future. And until then, see you next time, bye!